Rabbi Nachman says the best order is no order. Okay? No order is the best order. Okay? Because that's when good things slip in. When your logical, your linear thinking is out of whack, that's when Hashem slips in the ultimate concept. Okay? Many times, best discoveries made that way. We're on page 18 in Shar Gilgulim, the Gilgulim and Ruchot of righteous people. Okay, just to give you a little heads up on what we've covered until now. Hello. On what we've covered until now. Yeah, we learned basically that there's 5 levels of soul, and you're not going to get your level 2 until you complete your level 1. Okay? So level 1 was called Nefesh, and you can't get your Ruach, that's your level 2, until you complete all the parts of level 1 that Nefesh needs. Okay? Now, I was going to go into something a little bit more complicated, but I was going to save you. But the picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay? Just to give you that. On the page 9, if you go back, we saw that little diagram, that little chart. And the chart basically had 25 different slots on page 9. You just look at the chart here. The chart has 25 different slots. Really, there was a assumption, there was a premise that perhaps you need to fill all these 25 slots of your nefesh in order to reach to the level of ruach, which is level 2. The answer is, the bottom line is, take a deep breath, everybody. We don't have to. That's right. Okay? Let's say if you come from just row 1, that's called the malchut, or the nukve of Malchut. Let's say that's where the universe that your soul emanates from. You're only responsible for fixing only that segment of your root. You don't have to do all of the other roots of everybody else in that world. In other words, basically, you just need to move up from row 1 to row 2, row 3, 4, 5. In your column, you don't have to do all of the other columns and all of the other rows. Baruch Hashem. Okay? It helps us a lot, because otherwise it would be ois greufen schleppen. Okay? Ois gewarft, ois geschleppt. Okay? So, Baruch Hashem, but the idea really is, Baruch Hashem, you need, in order to get to your next level of soul, you have to complete things in this world. And of course, it sounds like, what happened to the doctor? Okay. So it happens to be, you don't get your ruach until you complete your nefesh. Now the question is, it sounds like, you mean, we're all starting on level 1 minus 1, or we're the lowest? We have to go all of this way in order to get to finally our unique element of our soul, that unique connection? And the answer is no. Okay? Because really we don't know what our previous lives we have already accomplished. That it could be that we are here, our ruach needs fixing. Our nefesh is already fixed, our level 1 in previous lifetimes. It could be our level 1 and 2. We're already fixed, and we're only down here to fix neshama. Okay, that's why people are inclined to learning Kabbalah these days. Such a big wave, actually from the 60s more like. You know? And so you don't really know what part of your soul is down here to fix. Okay? But for our intents and purposes now, we're just going to assume everybody's going to be level nefesh. And believe me, trust me, we're going to learn a little bit more. Right? Most people here are not new souls. Most people here have been here several times. My theory is that most people actually are from the Holocaust. Okay? Most of the souls came in a previous lifetime or in the Holocaust in some form or another. Okay? And I'm going to show you an unbelievable story just to throw this out at you, because it'll bring you something to awaken you by. Okay? How souls reincarnate in group forms. Okay? And it's amazing because it starts off with really Adam in the Garden of Eden. After he left the Garden of Eden, Cain killed Abel, as everybody knows. And that after Cain killed Abel, he separated from his wife. Right? He separated from his wife for, I believe, 120 years. Dang. 120, 130. I think it was 130. Okay, I'm not sure. I have to go back and look exactly the number. I'm not good with memorizing numbers. He separated from his wife for 130 years. Gewalt. Okay? Okay, so what happened was, though he was visited every night by two ladies of the night, two demons, right? One was his ex, his Lil. We don't say her whole name. And the other one was Nama. Okay, and they had cerveza, they had tequila, and they had
Who was Nama?
magic brownies. Okay? And so, what?
Who was Nama? I never heard that term.
Yeah, well, she was Lil's friend from the other side. Okay, so anyways, they would. What the issue was that he had spilled seed for 120 years. Okay, I'm just giving you the idea. Of course, what happens is it's in the imagination, and things get conjured up, and then as a result, that a man spills seed, and see that's pure potent energy when a man has that kind of nocturnal emission. So there is something born from that. It is a creation. And in the spiritual realm, it resulted in a creation of what we would call like a race of hybrids, 120 years of this hybrids. A combination of man and demon. Okay? I wouldn't say that. Okay? It's kind of like, thank God you don't have what do you call it? You're not out of a show on the air, because if you'd say that, it'd be a problem with the racial ethic. In any case, so these same hybrids died out and came back into the generation of the flood. So here they are now with bodies, and they're acting the way they're acting, and we know how the generation of the flood went. They were terrible. And so Hashem had to wipe them out. But the same set of souls came back into the Tower of Babel. Same set of souls, a little bit more refined. They had some kind of unity going on, right? They had a plan, they had a mission, very focused, right? But yet it still wasn't kosher. So Hashem had to take care of them in that way. And then the same set of souls came back into the people of Sodom. Hashem had to wash them out again. That's some kind of stain. I'm telling you, I guess he didn't have Tide in those days, okay? So he had to wash them out, and they came back into the people of Egypt. Now, the people of Egypt during Joseph's time. Joseph, when everybody ran out of food during the famine, Joseph said, okay, you want food? Everybody has to circumcise themselves. And they went to Paro going, man, he crazy, right? So like, what does he want to do? Yes, everybody had to circumcise themselves. What was Joseph thinking? Why was he trying to do this? These are Egyptian people. What's the deal? Okay? The deal was he knew where those souls come from, and they needed that cleansing. So in order to cleanse them, they all had to do a circumcision. That same set of souls come back into who? Ooh, the people who left Egypt. Okay? The generation who left Egypt, who came out of Egypt, were those same. But you understand. So, no.
The Egyptians or the Hebrews?
The Hebrews. The idea really here is that God does never cast away any spark of divinity. No spark of divinity goes left behind. Good soldier never leaves a man behind. Okay? So every spark has to be recovered, and sometimes the highest sparks are embedded in the deepest, darkest of acts. All the way from Adam Arishon. All the way from those deepest, darkest acts are the highest elements of unbelievable radiant light, i.e., the souls of the Jews that left Egypt. Okay?
Demons reincarnated 5 times.
Well, you can look at it that. We don't want to kind of say that, because their souls come from the throne of glory. The souls come from the throne of glory. All that is externalized stuff. But the idea really here is as you see how souls get weaved in and out through generations. That's why I say, I can't know for a fact, but a lot of people come with me with memories of past lives or dreams that they had very early, or hypnotic experiences that they were in the Holocaust. Okay? So, and it also explains why Jews like food so much. okay? Because we starved. That was starving. So we was like, no matter where we go, we got to have food. I got a stash here of nuts. I always keep with me. Okay? So now we have the idea here of our nefesh, our ruach, and neshama. We're only going to deal with those parts. So those parts, here we go. Okay? And I'll try to fill in if I missed any points until then.
Are those same souls in the Democrat Party?
Oh my God.
I cannot answer that. But I just found out recently there's this, that's a party, but then there's what's called liberals, right? And liberals are kind of a different, I don't want to get into that, but, it's a very interesting assumption.
Definitely occasional cortex and low IQ.
Okay, let's not. There's a spark. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's a spark of holiness in that too, and it's very clear to see the spark of holiness in that.
And low IQ vaccine.
No, the spark of holiness in such a party is, listen, they want everybody to get. Why shouldn't everybody have a good life? Is that not a noble cause?
Not what it means.
Okay, how to go about doing that is okay. But there's a noble spark of divinity that God wants to give everybody absolute goodness. And everybody, should partake of this unbelievable, divine light. Why not? Right? So it has a spark of holiness to it, okay? It's just how to go about doing it. Okay, that's the argument here. It's like I'd call the Republicans, if I could say, I don't know enough about politics, even though I'm grossly entertained by it these days. Okay, to a way that I've never experienced myself before, ever in my life. Okay, I was always repulsed by it. But they also want a path, but they believe hard work. You have to do hard work. And the individual has to move himself towards a development. But of course, in the general, also everybody should have.
Right.
I would think so. Okay, but these guys want to just go direct, and but there's noble. You have to look for the noble spark. Okay, in everybody. Yes, yeah.
You said that Abel spilled seed.
No, sorry, Adam.
Adam spilled seed, and these two people were created from those.
No. A race of creatures were created from Adam's spilling seed.
One shot is like a million, and then you do it over.
That's why, I'm sorry to say, this is just another side reason. I mentioned it in classes before. In Jerusalem, a child is not allowed to go to their parents' grave, cemetery, to the burial. Actual burial in the cemetery. They do not go, because in case this person in their lifetime had one of these nocturnal emissions and it wasn't rectified, it can be rectified, it can be fixed. The 10 Tehillim of Rabbi Nachman, booyah, he brought it down, boom, okay? You can fix it. Anybody can fix it, okay? So you go to the mikveh, you say the 10 Tehillim, and you fixed it. All right? So that's why they say it every single day. All of the Breslovs, they have a custom after praying. They say the special 10 Tehillim every day. It's called Tikkun Klali. Okay, just one second. Let me answer just hold your question, Anthony. Now I forgot where I was.
Tikkun Klali.
What?
The 10 Psalms after the...
Oh, that's why a person doesn't go to the grave in case it wasn't rectified. The children of the dark side come of him. His own children. There's children that he might have from the dark side who do attend the funeral, and they're there. And if the kids are there, they raise hell in heaven, in Shemayim, in the basement, because they want their portion. And they claim their portion from that person himself, from the real children. So in Jerusalem, the custom is no child goes to the grave of the parent. Period. Ironclad.
I thought it's just the sons are not allowed because they get jealous.
All children. No children.
An adult child can go? Or?
No child. I don't care how old you are. The dad is 90 and you're 80, you don't go. Or 70, whatever. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. You don't go. What?
So the Tehillim, is it evening, like after the bedtime Shema, or is it in the morning?
You could say that Tehillim, really, it's always preferred according to the Mekubalim, according to the Kabbalist, not to say Tehillim at night. We say Tehillim during the day, even though I've heard different opinions. We're in such a low state right now, you can say Tehillim at night. After midnight, you can also say Tehillim.
Oh, after that?
After midnight. Okay, after Chatzot, we call it Chatzot, midnight. But really, the Tehillim should be said preferably during the day,
Okay.
anytime during the day.
Is it only in Jerusalem?
What do you mean?
Only in Jerusalem, the children can't go?
That's the custom, correct?
How about like in
Cincinnati?
in
Spot.
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know it's Fat. I don't know what their customs are.
Would you agree with that rule or not?
You can't not agree with it if you're in Jerusalem. Okay? They'll believe me, they'll look at you squarely in the face and they'll go, this is where you can't go. And you'll go, okay. Because they're they understand their energy is like that. And the energy of the time is like that. And you'll go be totally okay with it.
Authority.
It's whatever it is, it's scary.
But this is kind of confusing. Maybe I'm missing something. You said that there were nocturnal emission, that there's certain demons are born that are hybrid between human. How could that be? Are you talking about spiritual beings or something you can see?
No, it's not something that you can necessarily see. It's not something you
It's
can
not a
see.
physical thing.
It's not a physical. It's not a physical. But it did come from you, so they can claim a right to something physical. Because they came from you, God forbid, or a person, they could claim some kind of a compensation in heaven that would actually come and actually be, as a result, harm the children, the real children.
I thought you said...
Harm would come to the real children.
Because they get jealous.
They're jealous.
Get into this world.
Who are they? Why are me? Why am I'm on my chopped liver? All that whole business.
I thought you said that these creatures were formed by these two women, demons, who spent 120, 130 years with Cain.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, with Abel. Well, not Abel. Adam. Adam's separated from his wife.
So
Cain kills Abel. Cain's gone. He's wandering. Okay.
So you're talking about Adam.
I'm sorry. If I said the wrong words?
Adam.
Adam.
What's the reason he separated from him?
Well, one kid kills another. Why should I have children if this is what they're doing? I mean, my first two kids. Hey, we've just been on the planet like a day. Like just a couple. We've been here like 1 week, and already they can't get along.
But he does come back there.
Who?
Adam does come back.
Yes. What made him? What the decision was? Because I guess it was time. Whatever it was, I don't know what made him realize. Okay.
Okay, I have two questions.
Yes.
When was this thing instituted? Where you can't go back to parents' graves? Like Isaac.
Not go back. Attend the funeral.
So Esau and.
No. We're not talking about that. I mean, this was probably instituted the medieval times.
They can attend.
Because the Zohar came out, and they didn't understand. Whatever was a tradition, maybe for the most part, things like that.
Second question.
Besides, Yaakov Avinu was a super tzaddik. It wasn't even a chashash that he would have such a.
Hopefully more related to this. When we're in our prayers, when we're talking about God resurrects the dead, how does that relate to the soul?
Okay.
Because you're saying
Did you read
that-
ahead, sir? You said it's related to this. I'm sorry. Good.
Hopefully it's related.
It is related. It's 100% related. Okay, your question again?
Because we're praying for God can resurrect the dead. So how
Correct.
does that relate to the soul? If the soul may or may not even be there, I don't know.
Okay, so you're asking a really great question, but it's later on in chapters.
I got you.
Okay, the resurrection and the reincarnation of souls are mamish like intertwined completely. Okay? So in other words, you could have a number of lifetimes, each one of those, and if you did what you needed to do in each one of those lifetimes, then you have multiple bodies that get up of your soul. That's right. It's hello, hello, hello. Okay? Don't worry, the memory's all there, you're all intact, everything's cool. It's not you don't have you're not bipolar. Like one time I'm George and one time I'm Paul, and I'm that, but yet I want to be me, right? So don't worry about that. Everything is fixed, but there is a merit to the body to get up if they perform certain mitzvot in that lifetime. Okay? And it all works together. It does. We'll get to more of details of it, but they all do. They are hand in hand. Okay, are we ready? Finally. All right, page 18, section 10, Gilgulim and Ruchot of righteous people. When a Ruach or a Neshama cannot reincarnate with their Nefesh, then they attach to the Nefesh of a convert, and they join their own nefesh once again after rectification. This is kind of like, what are you talking about, Rabbi? So let's go. If a person merits nefesh, ruach, and neshama, let's say this is your first lifetime, first reincarnation. Let's say, just work with me here, even though it's not. But let's work with me. Let's say it is. And great, you merited your nefesh because you were born. Your ruach came at 13 and 20. You got your neshama. Awesome. And then what happens? The person sinned and they blemished them through sin. Person did some kind of sin, and when he sins, he blemishes his nefesh, he blemishes his ruach and his neshama. Okay? So he will have to reincarnate to rectify the damage he did. Okay? And it works like this. Okay? So this quote-unquote person is Adam Arishon. I'm reading the note there. The first man and prototype human. This rule applies to him first of all, and also in general for us. This does not preclude the applicability of the rule to particular descendants of Adam Arishon who may have blemished on their own their rectified or nascent, I don't know if that's a real word or that was a misspell, nascent ruach, and now it cannot enter into a body of a completed nefesh. The process of Gilgul and Tikkun will be explained throughout the rest of the book, starting with the next chapter. And here, however, the main point is in the next paragraph. Okay, so this is the bottom line, just a little bit of a background. Let's say you got your nefesh, your ruach, and your shama. You got your level 1, 2, and 3, awesome, and you blew it. Somehow, something happened, you blew it. So your nefesh has to come back and get fixed. And then let's say you come back and you fix your nefesh, your lower level. Spend however many years doing it. And now you're ready for your ruach. In that lifetime, the ruach cannot come. It cannot come. Once you've been back, and once you blemish those parts, the ruach, number 2, level 2, cannot come in that lifetime. It cannot come in that lifetime. The nefesh, the person has to leave the world, and then only in the next lifetime, then the ruach can come back and get fixed. Okay? And the same thing goes for the neshama. If he fixes the ruach in that lifetime, great, awesome, give me my neshama. Your neshama cannot come in that lifetime. Has to be another lifetime that a person has to come and then fix his neshama. Okay?
It could be a gilgul of the first nefesh, though.
What could be a gilgul of a first nefesh?
Back in another lifetime.
Oh, so here we go in an unbelievable explanation. This is how it works. Okay?
But isn't there, somebody told me, I don't know if that's true, you can confirm or deny that there are only 4 reincarnations altogether.
No, not true.
No?
3 for a totally wicked person. If the person is totally wicked, he gets a 3-strike rule, and then it's just a washout. Hashem says, no, we can't have you come back here because you mess up the whole world. So basically he gave a nefesh 3 chances, okay? And then otherwise, then he'll take whatever mitzvahs he did. I'm sure he did some mitzvahs. Hopefully he did mitzvahs. So he'll put aside those mitzvahs. They go into a separate account. He'll put the guy through Gehenna. That's what I mean by washout. Scrub that soul. And then he gets his reward for whatever mitzvahs he did in the next world. Don't forget the maximum sentence of Gehenna is 12 months. What a bargain. Okay, not like eternal damnation. Okay, there's no eternal damnation. Okay, there is none. Okay, you have to be a super wicked dude to get one of those. And there's only the Mishnah in Sanhedrin speaks about it. Like there are 3 kings, 4 regular people. They lost their portion in the next world. But really there is no such thing. Okay, God. There's the rectification for everything. He never cast away, a total cast away. There's no such thing. Okay? God don't work like that. Okay? You have to be really a super wicked dude. Okay? Like bring idolatry into Israel and everybody's got to worship the Baal. Right? Like super marketing. You got Walmart idolatry everywhere. Right? So that's where you make other people sin. Don't get near that. Okay? So the idea really is now going back. Okay? When he returns in a Gilgul with his nefesh, and he rectifies it, yay, his ruach will not join him. It wants to come. It's hanging out in the lower Garden of Eden. right? It just got notified because it looked at the charts, because he checks the stocks every once in a while, and he goes, how's my ruach doing? He got it. Okay? I can go. Can I go? Because I really want to get fixed, right? So this is because nobody can't. You can't join with that nefesh. This is because his ruach remains blemished. It got blemished in lifetime number 1. And it cannot rest upon a rectified nefesh. That nefesh is now a clean Maserati. And the net ruach, even though it's pretty refined, but it's basically on the level of a speaking caveman. Okay? It can speak, but you're still caveman mentality. Okay? So the ruach cannot go into a fully clean Maserati. Okay? I once rented a car. They gave me an upgrade in LA to a Mercedes, a brand new Mercedes.
Yeah.
I did not know how to use that thing. Okay, I'm like, what buttons are going on here? I don't know what anymore. There's symbols, there's hieroglyphics. You got to learn Egyptian hieroglyphics in now these days. Like almost many hotels I go to in the shower, hieroglyphics. Where is hot? Just show me red and blue. No, they have the weird symbols, and you twist it this way and twist it this way. It's like, give me some English, okay? People these days, right?
It's like Microsoft.
Sorry.
Every product is less comprehensible than the one.
Somehow they're going
They
that
can
way.
mess up.
Here we go. Your ruach is fixed. Your ruach is not fixed. The ruach is blemished. It wants to come. The ruach wants to come, but it can't come into a rectified nefesh. In other words, rectified levels of souls do not reside in the same body with blemished ones. In what was discussed previously, he was adding non-blemished new divisions of soul to already rectified divisions of his soul. Okay? Wait a minute, 1 second, let me get that again. In other words, okay. However, once he has sinned and must come back another time, the process of tikkun changes, whole different program. He cannot add blemished aspects of his soul on top of parts that have already been rectified. And you think the nefesh wants that shmendrik in my house? No. That shmendrik, my ruach, I love him, but he's a mess up. He's blemished. He doesn't pick up his socks. He doesn't do dishes. And I got to feed him? No. I worked hard. I got my space, and so, no. Therefore, we got an issue here. The ruach wants to come. I'm getting called. The nefesh, my holy nefesh is fixed. It's great. But yet you can't come into the nefesh. He don't want you in yet. Okay? So therefore his ruach will reincarnate in another person, joining up with the nefesh of a ger, which is a convert or a stranger. And the neshama does the strange. This is so bizarre. This makes Twilight Zone, I tell you, into tricycle riding, right? It was,
Why?
The Hebrew word ger means convert, and it also means stranger, meaning like an outsider. Probably both meanings are applicable here, as we will learn in the special section that we're going to look at now. Okay? The idea here is that the ruach joins with the nefesh of a ger and then reincarnates. In other words, the ruach wants to come in. It needs to borrow another nefesh in order to come in. I need a nefesh. So you got to wait in line, and there's an office there, I'm sure, right? Of ruachot that want to go in, and then they assign you to a convert. They assign your ruach to a convert. Okay? It could be in the cow pastures of Montana, the potato fields of Idaho, right? Or downtown LA.
The Jews would always reincarnate into another Jew.
What?
The Jews would always reincarnate into another Jew.
Not even that, my friend. The soul reincarnates into a convert who was a non-Jew. Okay, the ruach part of your soul goes into another person. You fixed your nefesh. You're sitting here nefesh fixed, and all of a sudden your ruach comes into someone else.
Okay, I understand this, but I'm just having a general question. If somebody is Jewish and he dies, does his soul reincarnate into another Jew or not necessarily?
Most likely into another Jew, for sure, yes. Yes, if he's raised that level. There could be elements of him that need to be fixed that could reincarnate into other things. Like if he talked too much Lashon Hara, if he spoke too much gossip, so then an element of his soul goes into a rock because they're quiet. Okay? That's
You don't
not
talk
too
much
pleasant.
on certain
And if a person, his eyes were wandering in places where they shouldn't, it brings down in the scary books, which I should not share with you now, but I will. Okay? Because I can't stand holding back anymore. Okay? Could be into a bird, an ugly treifa vulture. Right?
vultures.
That's just so that, because why? The eyes are looking around places that they're looking at, because their eyes are on carcasses, roadkills.
Carry on.
Right? So if a person, when their lifetime, their eyes were wandering on spiritual roadkills, okay, whatever that is, okay, so then it could be, I'm not saying definite, you could fix it. Tshuva fixes all things. Tshuva, you can fix it all, okay? But if they didn't, it could be that a bird, okay, a bird that looks at, stuff.
But if you kind of done some mathematical calculations, I don't want to do that now. But if we look into the souls that are right now, the total population that we have here, we have more people than combined.
Okay,
history.
Dr. Leon, you have
So-
skipped many classes.
Okay.
So just to give it to you in a nutshell,
Right.
I understand, I think your question, we started off as really one root soul of Adam. That branched out into three basic, we'll call those the trunk. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. By the way, Abraham fixed the nephesh part of Adam, right? Yitzhak was the ruach, number 2 part of Adam, and Yaakov Avinu fixed number 3, the neshama of Adam. That's why, oddly enough, I'm just going to throw you out this here. The first 130 years of Jacob's life was, I don't know any good Yiddish words for it. It was like hachte tsuris, okay? It was tsuris. It was such a troubles. His whole 130 years, his first 130 years was nothing but sorrow and troubles. He had a wicked brother, always got him in trouble, always. Just nasty, wicked brother. Not fun to grow up with that kind of guy, right? And then he had, after that, he had to run away. Right? Got the brachas, had to run because his brother was going to kill him. Uncle Lovin, Shagitz, man, that guy was a low-life, dark Sith Lord that he hang out with for 22 years, 100 times changed the contract. Hachtet Suris. Suris means pains and troubles. Then he comes back, then Dina gets kidnapped. Okay, wonderful. She's with some non-Jew. Okay, thank you. Then Yosef gets, gets sold. 130 years, finally, he finds Yosef is alive. His ruach comes back to him. He spends the last 17 years in Egypt in the greatest, highest, happiest years of his life, the last 17 years. Those first 130 years, was that number familiar to you? He was fixing the neshama of Adam. Those 130 years that Adam separated from his wife, right? Caused a blemish in his neshama. So that Yaakov was fixing the neshama of Adam. Got it? The wonderful thing about discovering and playing with reincarnation, you see how pieces of a puzzle come together. And then you understand. What? No. It's Adam's soul is a completely different level in this area, but when it comes back, it has to fix something. So let's go on, and I think it'll become clear. Let's talk about us in our lifetimes, okay? I just wanted to give you like some kind of picture, okay?
I ask a stupid
Yes.
question? I've been told by my family that I am the spitting image of my father's grandmother. I look like her by his aunts and uncles who knew her when she was like 28, and they left Russia.
Okay.
How does that fit this? I mean,
Hey, man.
I look like her. I talk like her. I walk like her. I sound like her.
And you're here to do a tikkun for her. You're here doing your
I have
her.
a name for her.
Okay.
I'm very close to her. I was there.
We'll get to that. It's very okay. Let's just look at this equation here first, okay?
Well,
Okay. Let's try to get unlost for a minute, okay?
What I was just trying to comment is that you said that most of us have been here before, but if you do the mathematical calculations, you will have to find out that majority of the people right now in the world are brand new souls.
No. Absolutely
Are
not.
you counting plague victims? Are you counting abortions?
No.
Are you counting stillborns?
Listen,
Are you
I'm sorry,
counting
I just got to the
people?
beginning, I veered off. I'm sorry. It's Avram, Yitzhak, Yaakov branched out, Yaakov 12 sons, 12 root souls. Those 12 became 70 root souls. Those 70 went down to Egypt and came out as 600,000 root souls, like a branches of a tree. Those 600,000 are the root souls of all of the Jewish people. Now we're 15 million now, I think maybe 16. So each one of those root souls branches out and has sparks. Each one of those 600,000, okay, break off into separate fragments. Every one of us ties into those 600,000 root souls.
Yes,
okay?
I agree. I wasn't meaning the Jews. I was talking about Gentiles.
I'm not talking about Gentiles. We're not into that yet. It's a different structure. Okay. Okay. They're okay. Let's go.
Why do you say 600,000? I know those are the physical people that are on Mount Sinai.
Yes, exactly. The men, right?
But I was told that just because you weren't there physically, the soul was.
You're
still more souls there.
You were there. Every Jewish person was there. Every Jewish person was at Mount Sinai within the root. You know, within your root.
Never mind.
Okay.
Let him do his class.
Okay. Let's go. Shh. Let's go back. Okay. The person fixes his nefesh. He's ready for his ruach. His ruach is in the waiting room in the lower Garden of Eden, someplace in the spiritual realm. It wants to come in. It can't come in. It needs to borrow a nefesh. Okay, where does he get a nefesh from to go ahead and attach itself to in order to get its own rectification, in order to fix himself? Okay? So what does he do? He needs to join up with the nefesh of a convert. Okay? How does he do that? How does that work? Okay? So go. And the nefesh, okay, let's just get, So I'm going on in the text on page 18 there, the second to the last paragraph. And the nefesh that was rectified, in the meantime, will receive a rectified ruach from a righteous person who was similar to him in some of the particular good deeds that he performed. Okay? It will actually take the place of his own ruach. Okay? So let's say you can't get your own ruach in your lifetime. You can't get your own ruach because your own ruach still needs some fixing. This is if the ruach was blemished. Okay? So what happens is you have fixed your nefesh. Oh, so amazing. So what happens is you get an extra level of soul that actually comes from a righteous person. That's what they say. They have a phrase. The righteous people are more powerful after their death than in their lifetime. Because why? They become an influence to people. It could become a multi-influence to multi-people. That's right. Sometimes you get real unbelievable thoughts, unbelievable surges of inspiration and motivation to do something good. That's coming from some place within your soul. That isn't called an ibor, an attachment of a ruach, of a righteous soul that has left this world, but somehow can attach itself to your soul and influence you for good. It's mamish Twilight Zone. Okay? It's like, who's that voice inside my head? Who's that voice inside my head? But it's always for positive. Only for positive. Ibur, which means impregnation. I-B-U-R. Ibur is I don't even know. Like Ibur's ayin. I think ayin beit vav resh. Okay? Okay, so going back here. So that's your particular nefesh. It got fixed, and somehow a ruach, you could be imbued with an mamish, an unbelievable soul that gets attached to you, and you have an unbelievable experience, unbelievable influence. You might not notice it. You might notice it. Okay? It could leave you if the person's deeds were to sour. So then this guy's like, I'm out of here. Okay? You could leave. You could leave. Because no. You smell. Okay? It's basically you smell. Okay? Well, let's stop. If the ruach becomes rectified, in other words, we're going to the original ruach of the person, then he will receive a neshama from some righteous person, which will act in place of his own neshama. In other words, it works that way in a chain. Let's go over the chain again, okay? Ruach. Your nefesh becomes fixed. Great. You want a ruach, okay? You can't get your ruach because your ruach was blemished and your neshama was blemished. Great. You get a ruach of some righteous guy, okay? Now let's say...
In this lifetime.
In this lifetime. So let's say you worked and somehow it came together that you fixed your ruach. It's awesome, man. I fixed my ruach. And another, whatever it happened, it got fixed. However it got fixed, it got fixed. The ruach is now ready for a neshama, right? The neshama, which was blemished, cannot come into that person. So it can come from, the neshama can come from another righteous person, okay? In other words, all kinds of influence, we're privy, if we fix our nefesh, or we fix our ruach, level 1, level 2, we're privy to all kinds of influences from very high places, okay? But let's just focus on here. Let me read this note here. His ruach became rectified while it was attached to the nefesh of the ger. And now it is time for his neshama to descend. However, it was also blemished and cannot descend into a rectified ruach. Therefore, it too will attach to the nefesh of a ger. Meanwhile, the rectified ruach can receive a neshama from one of those tzaddikim. In other words, this is the pattern. That's how the pattern works. Basically, the pattern is an unrectified ruach or neshama cannot go into a fixed nefesh. Okay? They have to get their influence from another place.
So this explains how there could be Mashiach in each generation, because the beautiful neshama comes down.
It's always there in a different place, in a different way. Your hand was up first.
So Ruth was the first year? When did this cycle
begin? I don't think Ruth was not the first ger. No.
First year.
We were. We all converted on Mount Sinai. Mass conversion. We all had to go to the mikveh. Yeah.
So why is Ruth considered the first year?
I don't know where that came from. I really don't. She was probably the first and only Moabite ger. There was a big argument if a Moabite can convert, because there's an explicit verse that Moabites cannot convert. So they answered Moabite men cannot convert, Moabite women can. It was a big argument between Boaz and the rest of his group. It was a big argument. You're talking about halachic debate, huge. And he voted no, Moabite women can convert. And they're going, that's because you're going to marry her. Okay, so, yeah, whatever. She was not the first convert. There were others. Zipporah, wife of Moses. Wife of Moses.
When we left Egypt, weren't we Hebrew?
Yeah, but then, Hashem, it was kind of also, we learned all about all the halachas of conversion through Mount Sinai.
Yeah, but what are we converting from?
It was, because he needed to shed all of that Egyptian stuff. You understand?
By the sun working in the...
We were from the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But we learn all of the laws of conversion through the experience of Mount Sinai, that really a convert has to bring a korban. We had to bring a korbanot then. I don't think it was just like, let's everybody do it for the sake of these nice guys. But basically, in terms of, let's say, real conversion, not to confuse, let's take Zipporah, Ruth, okay? Real outsiders, okay? Yes.
Now, if, let's say, soul A has a rectified nefesh and ruach, and soul B needs to borrow the ruach, what does soul A do for
Who's soul B? Who's soul B? Who is
soul?
No, they're not going to mix and match here. We're going to be quite clear here. Okay, I have to cut to the chase here. Okay, because it helps. The nefesh of a convert. Okay, he's kind of like, I have to say, in a certain sense, kind of like a new soul.
Right.
Because he's coming from a different place. So where is he made? Where is that soul, nefesh of the soul, made from? You're going to see later on it's made from the intimate relationships that the souls of the righteous have in the Garden of Eden. This also comes from their learning Torah. It creates these nefesh of a ger, the soul of converts. These soul of converts hang out basically, I hate to use this imagery, but I'm going to, a huge coat room. Okay? Look at it as a coat room. Okay? They're coats. They're nefesh. They don't really have a neshama and a ruach. Okay? They need to get somebody else's ruach or somebody else's neshama in order to go back into this world, to really soup up, to really complete themselves.
So what does that somebody else do for a ruach?
So let's go back to our play. Let's go work with me in the play that we're in now. The nefesh down here on earth got fixed. Awesome. Wants its ruach. Of course, its ruach, which is up in the Garden of Eden, okay, can't go into that nefesh. I need a nefesh. Goes into the coat room, picks out nefesh-24-B35, right? Which happens to be made, which is the soul of a convert, or going to be a convert, gets in it, and then goes out down into this world. No ruach can come into this world without a neshama, a nefesh, sorry. No ruach, number 2, can come into this world without a nefesh. You've got to have a nefesh. You can't come in without a nefesh. Okay? It's just how it works. Okay? So it needs to get attached to a nefesh, this ruach, this blemished ruach, in order to come into this world. Whose nefesh does it get? It attaches itself to the nefesh of a convert. Okay?
How do we know that?
Arizal. This is what we're learning now. This is the words of the Ari. The words of the Ari says, this is so bizarre, it's so amazing. I hope we have time to even
Why is the
hit this.
ruach-
Oh man, I can't believe the time. Okay.
Why is the ruach in
The lower Garden of Eden.
Why is he blemished?
Good question. Awesome question. Now, what happened was, because, let's say, the first lifetime. We are all here our first lifetime. Okay? Let's look at it like that, simply. Who knows how long ago? Okay? So we were all here at a lifetime, okay? And we were managed to achieve, actually, I'm at 20% battery, okay? Yeah, better take it.
Once you attach it, you have to push this button on the side.
Okay.
Push the button.
It'll light up in 3.
Okay,
3
fine.
blue dots.
So once we were here, and like we see in chapter 2, which I'm trying to get to, okay, because then it moves faster. I'm sorry to move so slow in chapter 1. Okay, so then what happens is, okay, got it, yeah. So then what happens is, let's say we achieve, according to the way it goes in the first lifetime, nefesh, birth. Everybody gets a nefesh at birth. 13, 12, you get your ruach. 20, you get your neshama. You're only responsible for getting these 3 through the vortex, okay? The vortex meaning this dimension, unscathed, and to do the mitzvot, the positive things that the person needs to fulfill. Let's say while they were in this lifetime, all y'all just basically look in the mirror, okay? All y'all, okay? Blemished your nefesh, your ruach, and your neshama. Don't forget, when you blemish something, it's going to affect your soul. Things affect your subconscious. Things affect you deeply. One subtle thing could mess up could do a lot of damage, okay? Go out, my 2-year-old son, one little spill, and mamish unbelievable. It's gefährlich. It's mamish the biggest mess in the world, right? It's unbelievable.
Like, you couldn't even imagine.
It's the little thing, like the little, like you just, what's this string do? And all of a sudden it's a huge chandelier that crashes, okay?
Children.
So all 3 levels got blemished in lifetime number 1. So now it's a completely separate plan. The fix-it plan is now on a completely different course of how to fix. So this is the course that we're discussing now, okay? The course here is the nefesh comes down and needs to get fixed, and it can't get fixed, and then the ruach wants to come and can't come, okay? Can't come in that same lifetime to attach to that, okay? It has to get another nefesh. It needs another nefesh quick. How does it get? It attaches to the soul of a convert. Okay? So there, and this is what it means, sorry, just so you know, this is the esoteric meaning of what the sages said, righteous people are greater in death than during their lifetimes. Okay? Because why? This is because if you fixed your nefesh, you can get now privy to a ruach of a righteous person who has passed away from this world, who will attach himself to you and influence that person for the good. Okay? Only for the good. They'll push you to learn more. They'll push you to do mitzvahs. They'll push you to think right. They'll push you to do this, whatever it is, good things. Good influence. Okay? When this person dies, his nefesh will go to the ruach and achieve blessing fitting for it. In other words, it will later, after this nefesh leaves this world, attached to the ruach, after it leaves this world, will reattach with its, hopefully, its rectified ruach. Okay, we didn't get to the ruach yet, okay? When his own ruach, which joined with the nefesh of a ger, becomes completely rectified, then his original nefesh will say, I will go and return to my first husband since he's rectified. In other words, after they're all dead, the nefesh got fixed here. Great. That's lifetime. That's in one lifetime. Right? Houston, Texas, fixed the nefesh. Okay? Ruach of a convert, that's born into the, cow pastures of cow pastures of Montana. Right? And he converts, he goes through, and he fixes the ruach. Awesome. They both leave this world. And this nefesh will rejoin with the rectified ruach.
Of a ger.
Of a ger. That was the ger. The ger, now you're going to ask, whoa, you just stripped me of my ruach. Hello. What am I, chopped liver? Okay, don't worry. Okay? Everybody gets good stuff. Okay? But this is just how it has to work. Okay? I'm going to skip ahead, okay, to go to page, now we got to just, because I only have so many minutes, okay?
Did you explain why a ger? Why a convert? Did you explain that? I may have missed it.
The converts are classically made, according to these texts, from the intimacy of the righteous people in the Garden of Eden.
I also heard a theory that when Abraham was trying to make the baby with Sarah, all the souls over the years went to the convert.
Correct. Also, it says the souls that they made in Haran by Avram Avinu, when every time that Sarah and Abraham were together, had a relationship, they created a soul. But that soul hung out in Garden of Eden until it got to get some ruach to go ahead and be born into this world. But then, once again, they're also righteous, and they're also in the Garden of Eden. Okay, every time, listen, it's a whole nother course. We're off topic. Okay, you have known the nefesh of the ger. All hidden things that the Blessed Holy One does has put into the Holy Torah. And everything, I'm sorry, I'm on page, no, I skipped ahead, buddy boys. I skipped way ahead. Sorry.
From page 18 to page 5.
Okay. It's on page 4 actually, but you have to skip ahead because I said the page numbers here are totally whacked. Because if you hear this, if you skip ahead,
It comes to page 30.
it has a big huge I'm not page 30.
No, afterwards it's page 30.
Someone else sent this information first?
No, that was me. I went over it. Okay. I'm going to. You have known the nefesh of a ger. Okay? You see that? I know, but this is the second page 4. This is a bizarre concept, and this is what makes Twilight Zone like chicken salad. Okay? Go to this paragraph where it starts with, where I have a marking, I think, on the side. You might have a marking. Yes, you have a marking on the side which says, the people of Israel must be careful about the converts in their midst, not to oppress them or treat them harshly in any way, and to go out of their way to make converts feel comfortable and at home as much as possible. Huge issue. Okay?
Does that mean when they're converted, or
After they make it, you got to make it. You got to make it upstream. There's no freebies here. In other words, because a lot of converts piddle out halfway, middle way, right? They go back to JC. They got until you make it. Then you then.
once you make it, you're not a convert.
Once you make it, you're a convert. You're a convert that converted. That means it's a retroactive revelation that your soul was on Mount Sinai.
So what's the new term for somebody who's converted? You don't call them a convert forever once they've converted, do you?
You call them George or whatever their name is.
As a term for the general conversion, no? They're always a convert, even though they converted to Judaism?
No, they're just Jewish.
Once you're a Jew all the way, from your first cigarette to your last dying day. Okay? You can then. That's why we're very, very careful. These days, we don't call them that. Who calls them that?
You just said that.
Okay, because that's their status, because we have to know them. But in shul, you go, hey, there's George the convert. You don't do that. As a matter of fact, look at this paragraph.
It says be careful.
The Talmud in Baba Metzia even says that the Torah has warned the Jewish people about this no less than 36, and some say 46 times we're worried not to oppress the convert.
Right. That's the same with the widow and the orphan now, in the same text.
Different reason. We're getting into the Kabbalistic reason why the Torah has to tell you 36 or 46 times, do not oppress this person. And it's very serious, because I'll tell you the bottom line here. He could have your Ruach. He is you. That's right. You don't know who he is. Okay? That's right. You don't know who he is. You could be fixed with your nefesh, and great, you're getting some kind of connection here of like divine inspiration, but you need your ruach fixed. And if you oppress this dude, it ain't gonna be good, because then he ain't gonna be able to fix your ruach. You need him to fix your ruach, and you need to fix your ruach. You're number 2, okay?
What about a convert that goes off the derech?
That's why Beis Dinim these days have gone along this path. It used to be a convert, Sipporah. I'm Jewish. Didn't have to do anything. You poof, magic dust. I'm Jewish. You just accept that God is one and behave like that. That's what it used to be. Okay? Poof. I'm a Jew. Right? It was a full acceptance. Right? Now, from Mount Sinai, once Mount Sinai happened, okay? Then, you got... Okay, sorry. Okay, so what happened is... Now, where am I?
Do not
We went
suppress a
from
ger
poof,
from
I'm a Jew.
I forgot where I am.
Poof, I'm a Jew. Now I
Oh!
bring a korban.
Right. So then, nowadays, whoa. A person who wants to convert, you need the Beis Din. We got to know, are you going to keep every single thing in the Torah and the mitzvahs? Not even what the rabbis tell you. You don't have to know everything to convert, but you have to accept what the rabbis, the Orthodox rabbis, tell you. And if you don't accept what they tell you, right? So these days they can actually, God forbid, they don't do it. They don't want it to retroactively nullify a conversion. But if the person shows that they did not accept, in other words, right out of the mikveh, they went to Luby's to celebrate their conversion. Okay?
Or 3 years later.
Or the all-you-can-eat lobster buffet.
Crawfish.
Right?
Fishbowl.
Right? So when they go into that mikveh, now it's one of my things is I think that's when they get this ruach here. Okay? They come out a new soul here. Okay? So the idea really here is that's why if they go off the derech, they're hurting the entire Jewish people, because they're taking the Shekhinah, the divine presence. We invested in them a piece. They got a piece of the Jewish neshama. You take that piece of Jewish neshama and you put it in the mud, that's not good. So the Beis Din, the rabbinical court, has to take serious responsibility that this convert is going to keep Torah and mitzvot. Otherwise they don't. They're taking the divine, the holy queen, and taking her and shoving her in the mud puddle. Okay? To play with the pigs in the pig pen. And we cannot allow, because this is a very holy, very holy piece of the divine presence that this person is responsible for. So you understand how sensitive it is? Once they make it and they accept and they're keeping Torah and mitzvahs, you never are allowed to say, there's George the convert. Okay? You accept them, you welcome them, and you have to love them. It says you must love the ger. You know why? Because they could be fixing your ruach or your neshama. And you want your neshama fixed, and you want your ruach fixed as much as you want, right? Any but them as well, okay? So that's why the idea really...
Why do they have special provisions in Jewish law for them? Like they can't do this, they can't do that.
What do you mean by special provisions?
Certain marriage laws they can't do?
Well, only because they can't marry a Cohen, because, who knows where they've been, okay?
He knows where the other Jew has been either.
It's true, but it's just one of those things that the rabbis wanted to just keep the Cohen sanctity. It's a separate issue.
Kind of like Jewish girls who were before, then they became modest. They can't marry them, even if they were even
A lot. No, it depends. There's a lot of factors that go into it. But that's just for a Cohen. And you could get away with it if they converted before they were 3 years old. There is ways, but nowadays everybody is just. We have to keep a certain standard because we're so far away from Torah and mitzvahs. We're really far away from the signal of Sinai, and so therefore everybody's just so stranded in the darkness. We have to just keep these fences that we put up. But by and large, the idea really is and my father-in-law, Zekusa Yagain Elaine, was infatuated with the nefesh of the ger. I did several hours and hours of research on specifically this topic, and there's other reading that you could do before here in terms of what is this nefesh of the ger. The idea really is, of course, we know that we're all here to fix. We're all here to become kelim. We're all here to become elevated, to become vehicles that receive the infinite light. Okay, and there's steps you take. Okay, so. Whatever steps it are, the bottom line here is, you cannot oppress the ger, okay? Because really, the bottom line is, he could have a piece of you, most likely, or he has a piece of somebody.
Yeah.
So you want to get everything elevated. We need everything elevated, okay? Anyway, so I think we'll stop here. This is a good place to stop. Next week, I'm going to chapter 2, no matter what.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.